recursion, you probably know already. These slides I actually made for 2011, and then I stuck them in here. So some of you have seen them already, right? It's just the review. This is a review of 2011, right? What do you do in recursion? You have your own instance. So there it is, an instance. You're assured that it meets the precondition, which is it's a bunch of numbers. And your job is to produce the postcondition, which is the same number sorted. And the technique is divide and conquer recursion, in which you get help from friends, right? So I'm going to refer to recursion as friends are helping you, right? And you can have as many friends as you want. You can recurse as many times as you want. They're your friends. And for each one, you have to give him or her a subinstance, and that meets the precondition and is smaller. So you can have any measure, just like with measure of progress, your measure of size can be anything you want. So in some ways, it could look like your input's getting bigger even, as long as according to as your measure, it's getting smaller, right? And according to the same measure, when it gets small enough, you have to solve it yourself, right? And so then what you do is you just trust them to, you don't micromanage them. You don't say, this is what you absolutely do not say, because this is something that can get you a 0 really quickly. You don't say, well, I have my input and I call it on this input, which calls it on this input. Then comes down back and it goes down, right? You don't want to write a paragraph like that, and I don't want to read a paragraph like that, right? So just don't do it, right? So then somehow by magic, you're just trusting them. They give you their output, right? And which meets the postcondition. And so here, as their example, we have our input. We just blindly split it in half. And we give half to the one friend who sorts it. And there it is. We have it sorted. We give the other half to the other friend who sorts it, right? And then now we have their input, their answers, and we have to combine their answers to get our own answer. And you've seen this before, right? Whereas we need to find the biggest number. It's at the beginning of one of the lists, so you just merge the two together, right? Everybody know this? All right, that was our review. All right, this is just saying it again. This is back to the slides I had before, right? We don't want to worry about the whole computation at once, right? We just worry about one step at a time. In this case, the step is, what do I give my friend and how do I use their answer, right? So the funny thing is, I'm becoming more and more of an absent-minded professor, and I lock my keys in my house, maybe, right? And then what do I say? I say, well, if I could get into my house, I could get my keys, and then I could unlock my house, right? So that's a great circular argument. And, it doesn't work very well. So what we do instead is, so I've locked my keys in a house, but luckily I didn't lock them in my own house. I locked them in my neighbor's house. And my neighbor's house is a little smaller, right? Now, my neighbor did the same. My neighbor's house, the keys are in his neighbor's house, and so forth. And the houses keep getting smaller until the house is so small, right, we can take the roof off. And then it comes back that we can all unlock our doors, right? So that's how it works. All right, so when I told you we're going to have some code that you might not understand, right? There's crazy code, right? And so what's the advantage of code is how you implement for a computer, right? We kind of lost the stack of stack frames. I have to find it. Anyway, that's not a stack of stack frames, but a stack of stack frames is what a computer really does, right? And a tree of stack frames, which that one is the way to view the entire computation, which is good for calculating running time and stuff. All right, so different ways of viewing the computation. So we're going to be thinking about friends, which really boils down to strong induction and worrying about one step at a time. All right, so here in this example, right, my precondition is I have an x and a y. The postcondition is I have a product. I consider my input, right? Here's my stack frame and my input, right? And what am I going to do? Well, if my input's small enough, I solve it on my own. Otherwise, right, I allocate work to my friends, and here I'm recursing, right? That's the multiplication, so that's me recursing. And what I give my friend must be smaller and must meet the precondition. And then I assume by magic I get the answers from my friends, right? So my friends give me their products. Here are my friends, and they're multiplying, right? Here, 3 times 1, right? And I get my answers from my friends, and then I do some calculation to get my own answer. Right? Everybody got that? All right, so we don't worry about anything else. We don't worry about our friends. We don't micromanage them. We don't worry about our boss, right? All right, so